Yippee-ki-pee!
Hello everyone! Before we get into ranks 5 to 1, I do have an announcement to make. I will be giving away a $20 Hearthstone gift card to one lucky viewer, so please stay tuned until the end of the video for more details on how to participate.
We're gonna be rich!
When Reno Jackson was released, Control players everywhere rejoiced like it was the second coming, whereas aggro players rose up and with torches and pitchforks marched towards the Hearthstone forums. As the dust settled, it turned out that Reno was a great card, but not the executioner of aggro decks that some players hoped for and other players feared. See, it's hard to get rich when an aggro shaman finishes you on turn 5, or even worse, when Reno decides to hang out at the bottom of your deck. Still, players tried building different decks around him with various degrees of success. One of the most popular and successful decks was the Reno Lock deck that took the place of both Handlock and its Demon Lock variant during the League of Explorers expansion. With Reno Lock, the Warlock has access to some good AoE effects like Shadow Flame and Twisted Nether to keep the board in check. The Warlock's hero power also has synergy with Reno, because you are using your health as a resource to draw the defensive and utility cards and Reno himself, and you have Reno to replenish all the lost health. In Wotog, with the loss of Sludge Belcher and Antique Healbot, and the dominance of aggro decks like Zulok or Aggro Shaman, Reno Lock got knocked down a peg to tier 2 status. Still, Reno Lock has good matchups against the dominant warrior decks, and many people still try to get rich in various Control Mage, Control Paladin, and Control Rogue decks. So next time you get rich when your health goes down to 1, remember to sing,
I got Reno Jackson, I'm about to heal. When you think that I'm about to die, I apologize a trillion times.
My dreaming ends. Your nightmare begins.
The Feast of Souls begins now.
Come, little ones.
In the number 4 spot, it's a tie between Cthulhu and Twin Emperor Vek'lor. You probably think we are cheating because we included a tie, but hear us out. It's like you can eat French fries by itself, or you can eat ketchup by itself, but when you combo them,
That's incredible.
in the same way, if you play Twin Emperor Vek'lor by himself, he would be a measly 4/6 taunt for 7 mana. If you play a Cthulhu deck without Twin Emperor, your deck will probably die before reaching turn 10 against more aggro decks. The two cards are so interrelated that we found it difficult not to bundle them together. It is obvious why Twin Emperor Vek'lor in a Cthulhu deck is great value. A vanilla Buck Reaper is 6/8 taunt for 7 mana. The Twin Emperors combine for 8/12 taunt for 7 mana. 2 extra attack and 4 extra health for the same amount of mana. The fact that it is a 2-body taunt is an advantage because it is more difficult to get rid of. The Twin Emperor's Battlecry synergizes very well with Bran Bronzebeard, producing 3/4/6 bodies with taunt for 7 mana.
That's incredible.
What makes Cthulhu so high on our list is not only the huge body and the devastating Battlecry, but also the minions that support him. See, Cthulhu is a build around card, and without good support cards, he would probably see no play, because you would be dead before playing him. Realizing that, Blizzard provided some very solid Cthulhu neutral support cards like the aforementioned Twin Emperor Vek'lor, Cthulhu's Chosen, and the Disciples of Cthulhu.
Cthulhu! Cthulhu! Cthulhu!
In addition to that, Druids have access to the awesome taunt card Dark Arakoa and the ridiculous 4/10 for 4 mana Klaxi Amber Weaver, whereas the warrior can gain tons of armor to stay alive thanks to the Ancient Chia build. Many Cthulhu decks have been tried, but the two most successful ones have been the warrior and druid Cthulhu decks, both of which reached legend.
I taste the essence of your soul.
Yet another build around card, Enzoth is the strongest of the old gods as he sits high and mighty in the number 3 spot. When Enzoth was first revealed, some players were a little skeptical about him, only due to the fact that some of the best Death Rattle cards like Sludge Belcher and Piloted Shredder were rotating out as standard. It turns out, you don't need that many good Death Rattle cards to make a competitive Enzoth deck. The standard meta still has a few very solid Death Rattle cards like the neutral Sylvanas and Cairn and the class-specific Tyrion, Tomb Pillager, and Undercity Huckster. Among all the Enzoth decks, the most popular one has been Enzoth Paladin. The Paladin has good removal cards, an enormous amount of healing to keep him in the game until Enzoth can be played. He also has one of the best legendaries in the game in Tyrion Fordring, and even if Enzoth only revived Tyrion on turn 10, you are still playing a 5/7 card that summons Tyrion, which is crazy value. Other less competitive decks built around Enzoth have been Enzoth Hunter and Enzoth Rogue. In Rogue specifically, you can do some crazy shenanigans with Enzoth by shadow stepping him and replaying him, flooding the board with a never-ending Death Rattle army.
By fire be purged!
Ragnaros the Fire Lord, or Rag as he is fondly known, is the face of Hearthstone and one of the strongest and most iconic cards in the game. Who could forget the early days when players slammed him down on the board and fire animated from underneath him as he screamed, "By fire be forged," before blasting your hero in the face for 8 damage. Who could also forget the Rag duels and praying to the RNG god that your Rag would hit theirs first. But during the Dr. Boom era, everyone and their mother were playing Dr. Balanced, and to counter him, players included at least one copy of Big Game Hunter in their decks. This meant two things: the slot for big cards was already occupied by the Doctor, and BGH had Rag in his sight in case you fathom playing him. One man's loss is another man's gain is how the saying goes, and this is very true in Rag's case. Dr. Boom rotated out of the meta and BGH was nerfed, so players now had a choice to play large minions with more than 7 attack. Who is better to fill that gap than Rag, the best of them all? Rag can be found these days exterminating insects in most mid-range and control decks in the game. Before we pick up the best of the best, here are a few honorable mentions.
The light purges! Insect!
Who's up for an adventure?
Job.
By the power of Ragnaros, I have the power! Taste my blood.
The Brotherhood shall prevail.
I have no time for games.
Sylvanas Windrunner, the first of her name, the Dark Lady, Queen of the Forsaken, and Mother of Legendaries, sits atop Hippie Guppy's legendary Iron Throne. Her frail 6-mana 5/5 body is in stark contrast to her devastating ability of spreading extreme discomfort and despair when she enters the battlefield. Her presence is the equivalent of meeting your loved one's parents for the first time. Extremely awkward and takes you out of your comfort zone. Are you basking in the shining light and safety of Tyrion's defense? Well, how does it feel if Tyrion betrays you and puts his faith in your opponent instead? Or how about holding Cthulhu on turn 10 and not being able to play him because Sylvanas is waiting on the other side of the board to snatch his body when he is done with his battle cry? Or maybe you have cast your 20th spell and you are ready to reap Yog's madness. Well, if Yog kills your opponent Sylvanas, he would be casting spells in her name instead. The fact that she steals a minion at random is not too important because in many cases, you can control which minion she steals by sacrificing her strategically. You can also pray to RNGesus to grab that 8/8 body among all those 1/1 minions. Sylvanas is the most consistent legendary since the introduction of the game. She has been great in pretty much every meta as far as we can remember, and she finally gets her moment to shine after living in Dr. Boom's shadow since GVG. The fact that she withstood a nerf and is still the best just goes to show how devastating she is.
This is it! Sylvanas Shadow Flame! I do not believe it!
Wait. This is not it. Yeah.
He's got it!
Oh my god.
Are you kidding me?
Oh, he got it. Yeah, okay, exactly. Oh my god, this is so
that's
sick.
a game! Artie, you can't believe it!
Sylvanas.
Everyone's going crazy!
Sylvanas.
As I mentioned at the beginning of the video, I will be doing a giveaway for a $20 Hearthstone gift card. Only US residents are eligible to participate because Blizzard does not allow using a gift card if it's from a country that does not match your Battle.net currency. All you need to do is like the video, subscribe to my channel, and leave a comment about your top 10 legendaries. I will draw the name of the lucky winner on the 27th of October. Thank you for watching! Today, we will be talking about the top 10 legendaries in the standard format, up to and including the Whispers of the Old Gods expansion.